evening. It's 6 o'clock on Tuesday, June 13th, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Ora News. We bring you today's top stories, translated into English every weeknight. The European Union delegation has issued a statement for the judicial reform, calling on authorities to adhere to their commitment to implementation of the reform. The statement reads, EU member states, embassies, and the EU delegation in Tirana call on all relevant authorities to adhere to their full commitment to the implementation of the justice reform, which was unanimously voted on in the Albanian parliament almost a year ago. The vetting of judges and prosecutors, as imagined in the legislation that has already been reviewed both by the Venice Commission and the Constitutional Court of Albania, needs to start. The EU recalls that credible and tangible progress in all 5 key priorities, the implementation of the justice reform and in the particular vetting, are essential for the opening of accession to negotiations with Albania. Yesterday, the U.S. Embassy also issued a statement for the judicial reform, urging the Constitutional Court to review the complaints filed against the reform in a transparent manner. The U.S. Embassy also emphasized that the vetting must be strong and meaningful because key anti-corruption components of the reform, including the SPAK and the National Bureau of Investigation, are dependent upon having honest judges and prosecutors. The Union of Judges and the Association of Judges have recently appealed some laws of the reform to the Constitutional Court, claiming them to be unconstitutional. The former chairman of the Socialist Movement for Integration, Ilir Meta, declared today that as future president, he will not announce the future government if the citizens' vote will be violated in June 25th elections, saying, "I am warning anyone who is thinking of violating the vote of Albanian citizens that I will not announce the Prime Minister and ministers. Announces will be made only if an honest electoral process will be held. Whoever does not understand this will soon understand. Crisis comes from the violation of elections, and those who will violate the elections will not be tolerated. Edi Rama has received the messages, and I am telling this to those who are ministers, who were ministers, and who want to become ministers. They better forget their efforts to manipulate and violate the electoral process." Regarding the role of the state police in the elections, Mr. Meta said he has sent a message to the Prime Minister asking him to control the role of the state police, declaring, "The monitoring of police directors and their illegal action has started. There are also honest police officers who have not accepted to become part of shameful actions of state police. They are all under monitoring and nothing will save them." Mr. Meta asked the Provisional Minister of Interior to get the state police under control, as according to him, there is information that police structures are exerting pressure all over Albania for the electoral processes in favor of the party in power. At the end, the former SMI chairman invited the citizens to gather on Thursday at Mother Teresa Square on June 15th to support the SMI team. Today, Democratic Party representatives presented the DP's economic program, for which it asks for the citizens' vote on June 25th. The political councilor of the German parliament group CDU, Hans-Joachim Walensky, was present at the meeting, where he issued strong accusations against the Prime Minister and the government. In Mr. Walensky's statement, he said, "He just pretended like he fought against the drugs in Lazarat, and he played the role of fighter against drugs. But in fact, Albania has turned into the Colombia of Europe in the past 2 years. People with criminal records in Europe were defended in Parliament, and Edi Rama is responsible for this. This is a national shame." According to a poll, 56% of Albanian people want to leave their country for economic reasons. Rama is responsible for this. What a shame. The CDU's councilor referred to the German chancellor when he said that the Democratic Party's economic program ensures a strong economy and more jobs, something that was also declared by the Democratic MP Lulzim Basha, stating, "This great support, not only in drafting the realistic and applicable program, will produce results, will also open up the gates to move faster towards the European integration after the elections, which will be won by the Democratic Party," declared MP Lulzim Basha. Meanwhile, business representatives who were present at the meeting presented the request for the Democratic Party's program. The Democratic Party chairman, Lulzim Basha, has interrupted his electoral campaign for 24 hours and is on an official visit to the United States. The DP chairman's flight has been kept secret, but some reserved sources told to an Ora News journalist that the DP chairman will hold important meetings with U.S. officials. The DP chairman left Tirana on Monday at midnight and is expected to return on Wednesday. A few days ago, during an electoral meeting in Korç, the DP chairman implied that he will meet with U.S. President Donald Trump. During his visit to the United States, the DP chairman is not accompanied by any of the Democratic Party's officials. The chairman of the Party for Justice, Integrity and Unity, Idrizi, held a meeting with the residents of Administrative Unit Number 3 in Tehran, to whom he told that the businesses need to be more supported in order to increase employment and economic development. According to Mr. Idrizi, a fair fiscal system is needed in order to boost economy, saying, "In any world country, businesses increase employment. We are in democracy, and the market's economy, businesses, and respected people of work are those who contribute in the country's development. We are on business's side. We are for the fair fiscal system which boosts the economy and provides for a sustainable economic development. This is the only way to increase employment." The PJIU chairman, who called on citizens to vote for his party, which is listed the 13th in the voting paper, according to Mr. Idrizi, the PJIU is the party of the national issues and of citizens' interests. The Socialist Party, the Democratic Party, Republican Party, and the Socialist Movement for Integration have violated the deadline set by the Central Election Commission by not filing their proposals for commissioners in voting centers. May the 5th was the last deadline the political parties had to submit the names of candidates for commissioners. When 12 days are left from the election date, the chairwoman of the Central Election Commission calls on parties to submit their proposals and declared that only 50% of commissioners have been appointed, declaring, "Today, 12 days before the election date, less than 50% of commissioners for voting centers have been appointed. Even though we have informed the parties in verbal and written communication, there is no reaction from the Socialist Party, the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, or the Socialist Movement for Integration, which are the parties that have the right to propose commissioners for voting centers. The deadline to train the commissioners has been exceeded, and this brings the inability to train the commissioners on time. The training of commissioners is a legal obligation set by the Electoral Code in function of the proper administration of elections, because only well-trained commissioners and experts of the law can maintain the electoral standards." The dangerous game, Blue Whale, has been spread worldwide and seems to have arrived in Albania. A 12-year-old girl from Gjirokastra played the game. The girl fell prey of the trap raised by her friend, which was accompanied to the police department. The 12-year-old girl did not have a mobile phone or a computer to play the game, but her friend gave her a mobile. The case was discovered by the girl's school friends, who noticed the strange behavior of the girl, who had started to become aggressive. It has been learned that the friend of the 12-year-old girl included her to the game because of the level of the game asks to involve friends. The girl had reached level 33 of the game, and she had 10 days without eating and had burning signs made from cigarettes. The girl's behavior was also noticed by her teachers and the school's psychologist. Gjirokastra's police are currently investigating if there is any other children involved in the game, as one of the Blue Whale game conditions is to spread the game to all the friends. Gjirokastra's Education Directorate calls on parents to be careful and to monitor their children. The Blue Whale suicide game is believed to be an online social media group which is encouraging people to kill themselves. There are hundreds of thousands of posts relating to the sick trend on social media. It's thought a group administrator assigns daily tasks to members which they have to complete over 50 days. The horrific tasks include self-harming, watching horror movies, and waking up at unusual hours, but these gradually get more extreme. On the 50th day, the controlling manipulators behind the game reportedly instruct the young players to commit suicide. After criticizing the political parties in every campaign for not considering the proposals of business representatives, a few days before elections, business representatives presented an economic platform. Business representatives stated that they should have the right to propose 3 names for the position of the Minister of Commerce: a long-term strategy, identification of the main sectors, reduction of taxes, and removal of values-added tax on energy for domestic producers were among the points presented by business representatives. Even though the reduction of the values-added tax on tourism has been recently approved, it seems as though it is not functioning properly. According to business representatives, there is an absence of the bylaws in order for the reduction to be applicable. Business representatives say this problem has been created by the provisional ministers. The first road segment of Tirana's new boulevard will open on June 20th. Tirana's mayor, accompanied by some Socialist Party MPs, inspected the last preparations for the opening of the boulevard and invited the citizens to join the big ceremony for the opening, saying, "The first part of the new boulevard will open on June 20th at 8 p.m. I think this is the main investment made in Unit 8 and 9. I invite all the citizens to attend the grand opening of the boulevard because we will celebrate just like we did for Skanderbeg Square." The mayor reminded everyone of the debates made 2 years ago for the boulevard, when the realization of such investment seemed impossible. According to the mayor, the evaluation for the City Hall's investment in 2 years will be made on June 25th. For this reason, he called on citizens to vote for the Socialist Party in order for the City Hall to continue investments. An underground parking area is part of the project at the new boulevard that is being constructed in Tirana, which includes the planting of over 1,000 trees. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again, Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Cosmo K, and on behalf of OR News, thank you and good night.